Hello, everybody. Welcome to What the Frick Live. I'm your host, Emily. We are live on Facebook tonight for the first time in a long, long time. Ever since Christmas, because I got on that ban. Doggone
Oh
it.
boy.
I didn't
Well, we're
even
out.
know I was banned.
Out of jail.
Out of jail. It feels good to be a free woman.
Yeah. That free air, huh?
I was like, when are they going to just quit? It's like, don't they know that it's not going to stop on my end?
You know what? I wish I could say that it would ever stop between Facebook and, sites like yours and then mine's. Mine got shadow banned there for a little while there. But yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's not going to stop what we're doing. I mean, I've been doing it for 7 years. You've been doing it for like what, 5, 6 years. So I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, come on, it's not going
Well,
to stop.
that's why we've gone to podcasting a lot.
That's
We've
right.
been very successful in podcasting because we don't get
Hmm.
censored so much over there. But
Right.
so tonight we're going also live. That sounded really loud. I'm sorry, everybody. We're going live on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. So please give us
Hmm.
a positive thumbs up. Give us ring that bell on YouTube. We appreciate everybody for tuning in for the
Hmm.
show. And Will Martinez has a new show drop. Can you tell everybody about that?
Yeah, you guys can go to darkfringeradio.com or just follow us on Facebook or Instagram at Dark Fringe Radio. And we had a new episode drop today. We interviewed Sophia Stewart. She is the creator of the Matrix and Terminator series. And yeah, we get into a pretty deep conversation about what happened, how she came up with the concept, her history, and how she actually won in court. And so it's a pretty interesting conversation, so you guys check it out, Dark Fringe Radio, all over social media, Instagram and Twitter, and
Yeah, I
also
definitely
Facebook.
I definitely have that on my list to listen to in the next
Hmm.
this weekend or next week. I have a Do you do that, Will? Do you get
What?
like, you see shows on, I'm like, "Oh, I gotta listen to that, I gotta listen
Oh
to that,"
yeah,
and then you just create a
100%.
list, and then you just
Yep.
go through the list, so
And I
but
know when I'm going to do it too, because like I'll say like on Saturday, like I'm going to do the lawn, and I'm going to go out there and so I'll just put my headphones on, boom, and I'm just sitting out there and just doing whatever I got to do and just listening.
well, we have which the first month, we always come back with What the Frick Live. I always, support other podcasters and other
Hmm.
people that have shows, and this is the remainder of the month, or this whole month, 5 shows in March. We've had
Hmm.
all of our guests have their own podcast too or show, and tonight we are getting into
Hmm.
Bigfooters.
Bigfooters. That's what we
And
call them.
I hope I'm not gonna mess his name up. I don't think I'm gonna mess his name up.
No, you got it.
But our guest tonight is Blake Duesher. I
Yep.
said that right, Duesher,
There you go.
and
Yep.
he has a show called the Lost Cryptids Conservatory. He's out of Michigan, the Great Lakes state, which we've had
Hmm.
a lot of Bigfooters from up there, in Ohio, and there's been some stuff here in
Hmm.
Kentucky too with Bigfoot, but he has a show called the Lost Cryptids Conservatory, and they really do investigation work. They a little bit separated from the, you know, what you typically see in Bigfoot research, but they go out into the woods, they investigate, they're committed to collecting and responding to reports 24/7. They want to raise awareness about the realities hidden in the forests of North America and beyond. So let's bring Blake onto the show right now. Hello,
All
Blake.
right, Blake.
Welcome.
Hey.
Hey.
And by the way, does your show come on regularly or
Yeah, we do a live podcast Saturday night usually, and covers a variety of different things, and it's fun.
Nice.
Yay. Well, welcome to the
Saturday.
show. We appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
Everything.
absolutely, Blake.
So Blake,
Yeah.
real quick, we'll get into this because I got a lot of questions. We got some videos, and I'm going to ask you the question that I always ask all Bigfooters, and they've never ever done it. So maybe you'll be the first person to do it today. Today, but why Bigfoot?
Um, well, just how I got started. I was watching old shows with my dad on the History Channel, and I think the Sci-Fi Channel had it was called like Sightings or Sightings X was the show, and staying up late with my dad watching not only clips of Bigfoot and the Patterson film, but UFOs and the Phoenix Lights and ghost stories, Loch Ness monsters and lost treasures and ancient stuff. So it all kind of fell into place, but Bigfoot really grabbed a hold of me and stuck with me, and seemed to be the easiest one and closest thing I could go look for and find, and start going out in the woods. And of course, started having my own encounters and adventures, and And I grew up loving gorillas and stuff, so I think for some reason it just grabbed a hold of me.
So you had your own encounters with Bigfoot?
I have several over the years, actually. My very first one, when I started going out at 13 and stuff, I would roam the countryside of Michigan and stuff, and it's mostly farmland and swamps here in the lower Michigan. And this particular time, I had a set routine where I would go out at my house, and it was in the countryside on a dirt road. I would go out of the house, and I would go to the side woods, and I would warm up my eyes to the darkness and stuff, so my eyes would get adjusted, so I could see a lot better. And usually, it would take about a half hour, and then I would move across the road to a bigger chunk of woods, swamp, different microhabitats like brush, farmlands, pastures, and stuff. But this night, I decided to skip the side woods, and I headed directly across the road, and I started paralleling the road. And then I would cut in and do my my route that I would take on it. As I was paralleling the road and stuff, I heard something in the side woods of my house. I thought it was deer or something. And I'm just starting out. I'm like, okay, I've jumped dozens of deer at this point. So I hear something of it, and I make a low whoop call, and it's very low and still like 200 yards and closer. We'll hear it, and it doesn't respond. Nothing happens. I'm thinking, oh, it's a deer. And I walk about 20 more yards, and I hear it again. And I'm thinking, well, that's kind of odd for a deer not to move out of the area when you're walking through the woods. So I made a low whoop again, and I walked another 20 yards or 20 steps. And all of a sudden I heard a burst of commotion, and I heard it come onto the road. And all of a sudden, it crossed the road in 3 steps bipedally. And all of this was happening so fast, but it was also slow motion. So I heard it cross the road instinctively, and I heard it silence, and I heard a big splash in this flooded thicket that was right next to me. And I heard it dash towards me and stop. And it was about 30 feet away in the thickets, and thickets were moving and stuff. The moon was, I can't remember if it was a full moon, half a moon. It was bright out, so I could see pretty good. And so I have a walking stick, and I'm holding it like this. And, it seems like eternity goes by, but, the seconds start counting off. And I go like this because I can't see the thing. And so I'm kind of trying to use my body language to, I don't know. There's a thousand things running through my head, like I'm about to die and a bunch of things. But
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I go like this, like I can't see the thing, and then I put the stick back down like this, and I thinking, well, I got to go back home. A minute passes, 2 minute passes, and I decide, okay, and I turn and I walk back this way, continue my journey, and looking back and forth. And I was going to walk the road back to my house, but I had a bad feeling like I wouldn't be able to hear it, or that bad feeling. So I circled back in the brush in this brushy field, and thinking I could hear it if it was going to come closer, or not like I could do much, but I would hear it. And my head was on a swivel, and I made it back to the door. Into the house I went, shocked. Didn't really go back in the woods for about 2 months. Of course, I was fascinated, and I've had Bigfoot fever ever since then.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my question to you, Blake, was that if that experience was going to push you away from it, or if it pushed you away from it, but it just ignited the fuel or the fire even more so, right?
Overall, yeah. I stopped going out in the woods at nighttime for about 2 months and stuff.
Yeah,
and,
I get that.
Yeah. And then, I realized, nothing happened, and then continued to do stuff on that property. And I've moved across, and then over the last 20 years, have been researching and having different encounters, close encounters. Formed the Lost Cryptids Conservatory here in 2018 because I had a fun with a bunch of evidence that I got damaged and lost. And so I figured I needed a place to put evidence, and YouTube was kind of the place. And free storage and also showcase the evidence, and
Right.
started the group in Christmas 2018, and I've had a lot of adventures with the group members, and they've witnessed some of the things with me and stuff. We've had a bunch of evidence and stuff also.
Blake, let me ask you this. I mean, you talk about some of your team members and stuff like that. Have you ever brought somebody out there that was a complete skeptic and completely turned them around 180?
Yeah, actually,
yeah.
When we went up to the UP here in a couple years back, we brought along a animal photojournalist called Jason Kenzie, and he started doing Bigfoot documentaries, and he's a skeptic, and he made 1 and 2 documentaries and stuff, and we brought him out and brought him up to the UP, and me and him, I had set up an audio recorder out during the day, and I asked a whole group of people, hey, who wants to go with me to change their audio recorder out? He volunteered, and the best person, of course, because he was shooting the documentary, had the best camera, great guy, funny guy. So when we're out there, we go all the way to the recorder, we change it, we're coming back, and as we're coming back, we walk right up into these 3 little twigs that are broken right in our face, and we walk this trail, and we're walking back, and it wasn't there. And we're examining this, and we're like, maybe, it wasn't there for sure. And as we turned to walk back, very quickly, there was this disturbance on the ground, a brush and movement or some type of disturbance on the ground to get our attention. And we turned around. I have a rifle. I sling it off, and I point it towards the direction of the sound, but at the ground, because I don't see what I'm aiming at. But I'm thinking bear, I'm thinking wolf, I'm thinking something dangerous, obviously. But I'm holding the rifle down towards the ground, and instinctively I hear the sound of scattering, multiple individuals. And to me, over the years, this was a couple years back, so years and years and years of doing this and stuff, my instincts are telling me this is kind of Sasquatch sounding. And I put my rifle back on my shoulder. If this was a bear, I wouldn't do that. If it was a wolf, or I truly thought something else, I wouldn't have done that. Within moments, we have this individual comes out of the tree and goes like this, and we see the eye shine. Jason starts filming. He films in 4K on a Sony camcorder, but you can't see the eye shine on his infrared. My really good headlamp had just died, and we were using his cheapy ones, and we can see him. He's trying to film him. He films for like 13 minutes or something like that.
Wow. He was actually that long. Wow.
So yes. And so it's about 13-minute long footage that we have. And so we are seeing this first individual behind this tree, and he's like this, and Jason starts rolling, and you can we're like, do you see that and stuff? Oh my, and Jason's like, oh my God, I can see him, and he's blinking, and I am kind of looking at it, and then I'm concentrating on something that I'm hearing over here, and it sounds like a Bigfoot slinking through the woods. It's hard to describe, but it is the sound of them sneaking through the woods, and it is a 1,000-pound animal that sounds like a 5-pound animal sneaking through the woods. It's very hard to describe. I call it they're slinking through the woods, and so my head's on a swivel, and I'm seeing this thing, and I'm thinking, okay, well, it could be a raccoon, or it could be a bear, or it's not good enough. It's not good enough proof for me yet, because it's just eye shine. I don't see anything of detail, even though my instincts are telling me there's multiple things around me, and this is Bigfoot stuff. Very quickly, this thing is going back like this, and I'm hearing this thing creeping up, and I actually hear, and I tell Jason there's at least 2 of them or 3 of them. There's one right here. There's a second one that pops up. The first one was about 3 to 4 feet off the ground. The second one pops up, and he's standing about at least 7 feet above the other one. And when he comes out, Jason's like, oh my gosh, there's 2 of them. And I'm looking, and You know, they're both on the side of the tree like this, and I'm still thinking, okay, well, it could still be a raccoon, you know, on the side of the tree or something. It could be a bear, and then the one on the bottom just goes like this, and I see this cranium, and it's like its forehead, and then it extends. The whole cranium goes up, like the cone head.
Cavemanish.
You know, like a cone head. You know, like the
yeah.
Even like you see in like a gorilla where it has the forehead and then it extends up. I seen that outline, and it was proof positive. This is not a wolf. This is not a bear. The way the third one is creeping up around us. So we actually go and walk up to these things, and, you know, we try to sing and seem, you know, like we're friendly and stuff.
Yeah.
Jason gets scared a little bit, and he gets startled, and I'm kind of like, well, everything's okay. And I laugh, and then we, you know, go up to him, and we seem benign, and we're standing right there. And as Jason pans the camera, you see a big old eye shine right there standing. I mean, it must be 10 yards away, but when we look, we don't see nothing, but the camera picks it up. We're standing there, we're waiting. We turn around, we walk into the three little branches, and I'm thinking, oh, you know, they must have just did this for us to pay attention. Jason catches another eye shine as he turns the camera in the same spot. As we're standing there kind of talking and waiting and listening, Jason is looking down the path, and he kind of sees something, and then he was about to say something. He doesn't say something, and he turns and looks at me, and then he starts walking a little bit, and all of a sudden he has the camera on him, and you see his whole face and micro expression change as he sees this individual spider crawl across the trail, and he is totally taken back. It's like a factory reset on him. You see it, and he is just turns to me, and it's like in total disbelief. And so he was a skeptic. Now he says after that encounter and seeing that thing crawl, the spider crawling, and it was right there, you know, he jumped up to about 75%. And he's had several documentaries. He was shooting number 3 at the time, 3 and 4. Now he's at number 10. So he's had several other stuff happen, but this really jumped him up to believing. And so he's seen it across the trail. I asked him which way, you know, how big, you know, and he grew up in Canada. In fact, he's told us a story where he kicked a dead bear in school when people thought they were sleeping and stuff. So he's an animal photojournalist. He has experience photographing different animals, and he lives in British Columbia, grew up there. So he knows bears. And when he's seen this thing spider crawl, wasn't a bear. What we encountered out there wasn't a bear. So I speak to them in Native American. I, of course, greet them. And
Bigfoot
before all this,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. So hold on, I've never heard this before.
Yeah.
So can you tell us how you do this? Can you show us, or how do you greet Bigfoot Native American?
Well, it depends on what state you're at and what Native Americans lived in that area and stuff. So
yeah.
So if I say Bosho, which is hello, in Michigan, and you go try to use that in like Southern California, it probably is not going to work so well. So you'd have to go and study your specific native tribes in your area and learn their language. Okay. I think to learn to speak to the Sasquatches in your area. It's a test I'm doing here in Michigan. So basically, you can speak the Anishinaabe languages, and there's a different variety, like Ojibwa, Potawatomi, which is what I kind of use, and the Ottawa, the Cree, and the Algonquin. And so I kind of use a specific dialect and stuff. So I say Bosho, Jena, Minishisabe, and Sabe is a figure in the Anishinaabe teaching. It's called the 7 grandfather teachings, and it's the representation of honesty. So they say there was in ancient times, there was a young boy who fasted at a campfire who had visions, and the animals came to him and talked to him. And there was one who was Kichisabe, who was a giant of the forest who came out, known as a Bigfoot and Bigfoot and Yeti and all that, and told the native boy the teaching of honesty and explained how he was supposed to teach his people how to live through honesty and to always be honest and respect the land and stuff. And this is one of several teachings that nature and the land itself and the animals tell the boy to teach the Anishinaabe, the natives, to live and to how the Great Spirit wants them to live. So he is a key part of that. And also there are very sacred stories that they say is, Sasquatch and stuff, not the Wendigos and these cannibal eating giants and stuff like that, but very specific stories. But so I spoke Native American and stuff. I did ask them, maybe see him. Jason did see the thing crawl across the trail, so I did say thank you, and I said come back to camp with us where more people are. And when we got back to camp with more gear, more equipment, audio recorders out, they really didn't do much. One person did see see an individual on a thermal behind me. The thermal didn't record. The software wasn't working right.
I'm sorry, you said individual. Do you mean human person or Sasquatch?
Sasquatch.
Okay.
I call them individuals and people because I personally think that it is, and from the Native American stories, that these are a type of people. They refer to them as people and not like a dumb ape. So there's
I was just curious because we use infrared and paranormal. So did this Sasquatch ring off the same readings as what a human would be, on infrared? Or you said thermal camera. I'm sorry, thermal. Did you say thermal or infrared?
Yeah, thermal.
Thermal.
I'm sorry, thermal. We use thermal camera in paranormal investigating. So does Sasquatch then produce the same kind of heat that a human would, an individual?
In that case, yeah, it was glowing and looked like a person standing there. When the person started walking towards the Sasquatch noticed and went backwards, slinked down and went backwards in a straight line and got out of view and was not able to be found. Nothing else major happened that night. We were out there for a week. That was like the second to last night. Before that, we had some audio during the day and some audio at night, which is on our YouTube. And we had Robert Kreider up there. We had the She Squatchers up there. We had Adam Davies up there.
I know She Squatters.
The She Squatchers?
Yes, I know them. Yes.
Yeah, they were up there. And Jason Kenzie. And so Jason Kenzie and the She Squatchers just put out their latest documentary, The Minnesota Roars. And they actually got some evidence of that. So they were on our trip up to UP. It was fun. So that was the encounter that a skeptic was brought along and changed his mind, I think, a lot.
Yeah, that's a good story. Damn.
Great story. I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about noises and knocking, and we're going to play some audio and things here a little bit later on in the show. But my question is, and we've interviewed a handful of Bigfoot individuals. Dave Spinks was one of them. There's another guy that's pretty big in Michigan that we had on the show not too many months ago. But nobody ever really talks about finding hair. Have you ever found Sasquatch hair on your investigations? Have they ever left anything? We talk about feet, and everybody's had all kinds of examples of feet and things in here and stuff. But what about hair?
Yeah, I found personally hair is hard to find. It's one of the hardest evidence to come across because of how small and insignificant it can be to just find with your eyes. I've come across two hairs. One was up north, and it was hanging about 6.5 feet in a tree and stuff. And so we collected that. Then we had some issues with one of the group members. I collected the hair and I said, "Hey, I don't have no pockets right now. I got my hands full. Hold on to this." He wants to play keep its and stuff. So there's drama with that, but
oh wow.
And it actually got contaminated that way because of
Drama? Never.
Drama. Well,
Never.
the problem is, everyone wants to be the person to find the evidence and to
Mhm.
be the one
Mhm.
to prove Bigfoot.
Mhm.
So I've had to learn the hard way through several members and and kid stuff, a bunch of stuff that is not professional. That that's why they're not in the group. But
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
found that hair. We found another hair that I walked this trail, and on the way back, there was a small pine branch in the middle of a fresh broke pine branch in the middle of the trail, and there was a very long silver hair that I tried to collect, but I dropped it as I tried to grabbed it and was doing my thing, and it disappeared on me. But I've never tested hair and stuff like that. We found hair. I went into down to Florida for the 168 expedition
Yeah. Oh
uh,
yeah.
for the Bigfoot Odyssey. It's called
Yep.
the 168, a Bigfoot Odyssey,
Mhm.
with Kerry Arnold. Rest in peace. He was awesome guy, great organizer. So we
Mhm.
went down there and we actually did find some hair and collected it and put it in some jars. And I think Mark Zasky has some of the DNA. And we did shoot a documentary down there. I did film some stuff there. I got a track that I casted down there, and we
Mhm.
filmed the red eye shine that was featured in the documentary I have here. And I also did film a creature spider crawling across the trail, and I filmed it. That is on hard drives and stuff that is still yet to be released by them and all that. But with Carrie passing away and the
Mhm.
drama that follows with all of that, so.
Oh, gee.
But with all the people there, we had a lot of fun, and everyone experienced a lot of stuff, regardless if it came out. So,
Well, I'm just
Mhm.
curious about hair because wasn't that like the infamous Bigfoot picture that's used a lot? It's like Bigfoot in the forest with its hands out a little bit. It's real blurred vision. It's from like the 1970s, and the FBI got hair samples and was sent to the FBI investigated Bigfoot actually using hair samples in the 1970s. So that's why I was curious to see if you ever came across that. And if somebody does come across that, would you give that to the FBI again? I don't think I would trust the FBI with anything when it comes to something like that.
yeah. Every time the hair has been tested, it always comes back as like human or human contamination. And then there was this genome project that came out, which a lot of people are all over the place, whether it's legitimate uh, or not. And that kind of the genome project basically said it was human mothers with basically some other entity as the father and alluding towards the Nephilim and type of stuff,
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
type of genetics and stuff.
Here's the picture I'm
Um,
talking about.
yeah, the
Yeah.
famous
Yeah,
Patty.
that it.
Yeah,
That's it.
Patty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually says underneath it, FBI tested Bigfoot hair in the 70s, but it came off this picture of Bigfoot, and then they found hair around that. That's why I was thinking when you were talking, I thought about
I
that.
believe there's separate documents with the FBI, not related to Patty and stuff, but
Okay.
there's conspiracies related to a Bigfoot massacre that happened there or not. But
Hmm.
the thing about the film is it's been scientifically scrutinized ever since it came out, and it's never been proven to be a hoax. It's never been proven to be a fake or to be a costume or any
Mhm.
trickery like that. So it does stand the test of time, unlike a lot of the evidence that we have now. And regardless of if it's real or not, I've had my experiences, and a lot of people have experiences and have evidence and stuff. So
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, Blake, let me ask you a question. When you've had these experiences, with these individuals, as you call them, and I'm sure that there's a lot of emotions that run through your mind and body at that moment when that happens, and it's probably hard to pick up on certain things. But is there anything that you like notice? Like, is there usually a smell? Is there, does this happen during certain times of the year? Whether why does anything have any kind of influence on when this happens, or or what you experience when this happens?
Personally, you know, it's hard to say. Half the time you go out there, nothing happens. Most of the time you go out there, nothing happens. But every once in a while, stuff does happen, and majorly. I do have a law enforcement buddy who does data mining and stuff, and has been researching this for the last decade, and has done over 100,000 reports and cataloged them. And he says, and that July and October are the two most months that get activities and sightings because of hunting in October with hunters.
Right.
And then July being picked up with what he suspects being a birthing month and stuff, with a lot of reports of babies being crying, and a lot of aggressive reports also. He does have over 2,000 reports in Michigan, which if you look at any other database or list, they usually have about 200 and something reports. So he actually has a 10% increase of reports pretty much throughout all of America and stuff. And he doesn't have very nice, good Samaritan reports. He had a lot of aggressive reports, a lot of killing dogs, trying doors, breaking windows, staring at people, peeing on people, playing tricks on people, very, kind of a nefarious sense of humor when they, and sort of revenge. And he's very, and he had an encounter here in Michigan too. And he actually got a picture of him, and one of the best pictures I think in the world doesn't get enough limelight and credit, but there's one on a tree and you can see it clear as day, in my opinion. But I'm kind of biased. I've been doing this. I kind of know what I'm looking at. And he, is very adamant that these things is, probably hurt people, or, are not so friendly forest giants, the hippie forest friendly giants that we kind of stereotype them as sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
And
it's funny how we do that, right? Like, polar bears and things like that nature, we think they're all this nice and cute and cuddly thing, but they can rip your head off in just one swipe of their paw, right?
And
don't ever watch Grizzly Man, the documentary. Oh my god,
no. Yeah,
that freaking traumatized me. That traumatized me to no end. I could not deal with that documentary. Do you know what I'm talking about, Blake? Grizzly Man.
Yes, yes, with Timothy Treadwell. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a sad
and so
story.
that's the thing, is we're going after a creature that in native stores and stores that my buddy has would wrestle grizzly bears and are, so we're going after a creature that's 5 to 1,200 pounds, depending on where you're at and how big the creature is. But all my experiences, I've had like the one in the UP that was pretty intense, and I've had another one that was pretty intense that I kind of thought, whoa, this is a little bit, could be on the danger side. But most of the encounters and close things I've ever had, I've never felt endangered. I've never really had an aggressive encounter. I've never thought I'm going to die or anything bad. A lot of the times, I like to acknowledge stuff is happening. Sometimes, depending on the severity of it, it's good to acknowledge stuff that is happening and do your own thing. I've chased after these things. I've acted like a fool and been done trying to do playful stuff in the snow and all sorts of things to try to interact with them, to show that I'm a nice person, and try to get interaction, because that's what I'm after, is interaction caught on camera, and not foot tracks or hair. I mean, we need something that's game changing, which is an encounter caught on camera during the day, interaction caught on camera, and it's hard to do. And so, we try to go out there, set up our auto recorders, video cameras, and we basically just go out and experience what happens in the woods. And that's basically all I do. I don't make the Bigfoot do anything. I go out there, and if something happens, hopefully I got the camera equipment running and we experience it. And more often than not, I guess I have been pretty lucky in doing this.
I have a couple questions here real quick. First and foremost, with this increase of witnesses and stuff over, let's just say North America and everything, does does Bigfoot hibernate? And what's the difference between Bigfoot and Yeti? Oh, he
I'm
cut
sorry
out.
you cut out.
Oh,
Is
that
it?
okay. Well, I was like, "Oh, no, he cut out." Okay. So, like, you were talking about all this increase in Bigfoot possible sightings and stuff. First and foremost, if it's that big of an increase, I would think somebody would physically see, like Bigfoot. But it started making me think if it's an increase in the summertime, which more people are traveling, they're going to these state parks and everything, which I find is really weird because that's a lot of times where Bigfoot is seen in all these state parks. But does Bigfoot hibernate in many ways? Because we got right before it's in October during hunting season, but is Bigfoot out trying to get food for the winter? Then he comes out in the summertime, and then makes me start thinking about Yeti because Yeti is like the Bigfoot of the snow. What's the difference between Yeti and Bigfoot? Is it the same thing?
We don't know. I'll give you the honest answer. No clue because we're not be able to study them. We're not able to get close enough to them. We're not able to either species. We think they're species separated by continent. So logically, if we look at the animals and stuff separated by continents, stuff, they can be the same, leopards and stuff, but they're snow leopards or they're
Mhm.
mountain lions over here. So there might be a separation of the species, but we think it's the same overall things. Sasquatch are wild people. There's a lot of wild men, wild people stories in all over the world and all the continents. But in North America and stuff, we think it's a very different type of creature. It's in a lot of ways has different temperaments compared to the Yeti and stuff.
Then I have one more question too here. So we have a lot of these encounters that, we're looking for Sasquatch on the ground. What if Sasquatch is a tree climber? Like, have you all ever did investigations looking up rather than just looking down?
Yeah. My friend who was a law enforcement officer, he has a picture of the thing climbing a tree, but it doesn't look like it's climbing a tree the way we think a human would awkwardly try to shift up a big oak tree, but it's holding itself up in such a way that these things are able to climb trees. And also what we think to be looking for is a Sasquatch walking on two legs like a person through the woods. But in my experiences, they're probably on all fours doing the spider crawl, and we need to look down and lower to the ground instead of a 7-foot tall giant walking through the woods that we're hopefully easily going to spot. In my experiences, these things are low on all fours and trying to hide.
That's interesting, Blake. One question I had for you is I wanted to get your opinion on this, and I have my own opinion because I've done a lot of research when it comes to this, Sasquatch, and I also have done a lot of research when it comes to people going missing in the woods. And do you think the Sasquatch is like a living, breathing thing, like almost a ape type of thing that has all the regular capacities of a normal human, let's just say, or is it something that can go in and out of maybe dimensional portals or something? Because that's one theory that I have, that there's they're able to kind of like come in and out of these portals that are in the woods. And I think that's why a lot of people get lost in the woods too, because they slip in and out of these portals. What's your opinion on that?
I think it's a variety of things that is going on in North America and elsewhere. I think there are Sasquatches that if you make them mad or they're whatever reason, they might prey on people or take people. Or if a female Sasquatch thinks you're handsome and stuff, well, she might not let you go. If she's having she might think, well, you know what, I'm having a little too much fun. I don't want him to leave yet. And she might
I think I've had some Sasquatch women in my life, Blake.
And
Have you
so it doesn't always have
he's
to
been
be
to
bad.
Appalachia. Will's been to Appalachia as long
It doesn't have to be bad, like going in there with a gun and something happens. You could go in
Right.
there and do everything right, be friendly, give some apples out, and then you're like, you know what? I don't want him to leave. And
Right.
That's
that
how
might
I
happen.
feel. A guy gives me an
I
apple, I don't
have
want him to leave.
I have
Sorry.
I've experienced other things in the woods like UFOs. So I know there's UFOs out there, some ghost paranormal stuff at home, different homes.
Well, Blake,
I've seen what
UFOs and Bigfoot correlate. There's all kinds of stuff. It seems like UFOs
there
happen, then Bigfoot's seen.
there are reports of them being in the same areas and stuff. I've recorded on my channel a Michigan UFO and a plane that the plane is blinking and the UFO is not blinking, and you have them both in frame actually. But I've filmed stuff in the same areas, but I personally am not up. I'm not concluded that it's all related yet. I have encountered what I've thought was I called the stick man, which was or basically the rake. It was what looked like the rake, but it was 7 foot tall. And really quickly, me and my buddy were doing the Bigfoot thing, of course, in that same property after my first encounter. We went in the backyard across the fence. We're looking at this dead tree, and I see this, something don't look right about it. We take a couple steps, and I'm looking at it, and all of a sudden, there's this creature that goes like this, and it's bald headed, it's super skinny. It has like tannish, yellowish kind of eyes. The moon was out again. My buddy's freaked out. We're looking at it, and it goes out like this. If you can see its shoulder and its arms, and its arms, and the whole arm was as thick as my wrist. And at the time, I'm 14, 15. I'm thinking, it's so skinny. It's like a crackhead skinny. I could break it over my knee. And I called it the stick man because it literally was like a stick arm. And so we ran in, told my dad, and my dad went out there and he came back in and was like, I didn't see nothing. Go back upstairs, go to bed.
Of course.
Yeah. A couple of years later, my dad is like, you remember that stick man you seen? And he's like, well,
oh shit, here we go.
I went out there, he's drinking a beer and smoking a cigarette, and he no nonsense guy, and coming off of, 10-hour shift, goes out there, don't see nothing. And he's looking at the tree. All of a sudden the creature pops out, and he sees the shoulder, the arm, and he says he drinks a sip of beer, and he says, okay. And he's like, huh. And then the creature really comes out, and he says he sees the arm, he sees a little bit of the torso and the leg, and he says it reminded him of like a tall gray alien type of entity. Like that's what he kind of reminded him as. So he turned around, he went back into the house, and as he's walking, he's thinking, should I grab the shotgun and go back out there? And then he's thinking, well, I got a house full of boys,
Yeah.
My mom passed away a couple years before that. So he works all day, pretty much work all day, come home, dinner. We're home by ourselves after school. Not only is there, Sasquatch out there, which he, downplayed, but there's this thing. So he came inside.
Man.
The stick man, he lied and said, nah, there's nothing back out there. Go upstairs. Just go upstairs.
And he was lying his ass off, huh?
He lied his ass off. And he'll come in and he'll I've had him on the show, and he tells the story. And I've also encountered a couple years back, actually in October, a wolf crossed the road, and then it went in the field, and it stood up and ran like a person and continued in the field.
Oh, skinwalker.
Dog man or a skinwalker. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what.
Yeah. Well,
quick. I know there's things out there that people run into, and who knows what the outcome is. I have been lucky enough to experience not the negative side of those encounters.
Right.
Well, real quick, I have the video. I'm going to share it of the UFO off your YouTube. I got that real quick. So let me share this. And
I'm a sucker for good UFO footage.
Yeah, and then also we have videos of Bigfoot doing some knocks and things. We're going to play some of that, and you're going to explain to us what we're hearing. everything. So here we go. This is the oops, hold on. Video of the UFO. This is it, correct, Blake?
Yes.
Blake, okay.
Yep. That's a little bit of my bass riff right there.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's cool. So we have a plane, then UFO. One's blinking steady. The other one is the plane. You can tell which one's the plane.
Yep.
Yep.
Ooh, it stops blinking for a long period now, too. Where did it go? Could it be a drone?
I think so. Drone's supposed to
Here
have
it
lights, and they're supposed to have blinking lights, red and green.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah.
disappearing because there's trees in the way and stuff.
Oh,
So
okay.
actually disappearing. But it's solid light. It's not blinking.
Oh, okay.
Like the plane.
House light.
And then there's a little house light right there and stuff. So
How long did that stay up in the sky again?
probably about a minute or two when I looked at it, and then I was like, duh, why don't I just go at the damn thing? And then I shoot it. So maybe a minute before this.
Okay.
Wow.
From what I noticed.
Now that's
there
not
it
the
is
plane
again.
anymore. That's not the
No.
plane. The plane's gone.
Yes. It's just a solid light, and it's as big as the plane, the light.
Have you
Right.
ever measured EMF during this time? If EMF went up in that area, if that UFO's up there?
No, I don't have that piece of equipment. We've tried it in the 168 expedition, but we didn't have any results.
Okay. Now, where did it go? Did it disappear now? There's the plane.
It's
Yeah,
there.
it will.
Oh, I see it now.
Eventually,
It's there.
yeah, the plane
There's a
passed by
UFO.
at the UFO.
Damn. What the hell is that?
Michigan has a lot of UFOs. I've had my dad's actually over the years has seen UFOs that have flew over towns that we lived at, and living at my grandma's house, there was one flew over 50 feet above the house, above the shed, and it was a triangle lights. There was two lights up front, and the third light was in back, and that was the shape of the triangle craft, or it was almost like a stingray kind of shape.
Ooh.
That's creepy.
Right over the house, me and my friend seeing it, flew over town. My dad came back. We're standing on top of on the truck bed looking at it, and he seen it and stuff. And so there's a lot of things out there. I don't know what's causing all the missing people. I do know that
War of the Worlds. The UFO stuff. It looks like a stingray. Oh, sorry, Blake. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
I think there's a little delay here. It's all right.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear anything, so I went off with the stingray. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. So another video we have, this is something you posted recently in the last couple of weeks on your YouTube channel, and that's the Lost Cryptids Conservatory. If anybody's listening via podcast or anything that way, but on YouTube, it's knocking sounds and things. Now, we're going to listen to some of it. You may need to have headphones to listen to some of the clips and things, but I mean, I've listened to this a couple times today, so to me, but I had headphones on, is pretty loud, especially in the beginning. But let me add this and tell us a little bit what we need to expect to hear. Like, how do you know that this is Bigfoot knocking?
I was out there, and then I was out in the woods, and I heard a knock and a whoop. So, and I heard it. I actually have it filmed on the GoPro at the time, and so I'm like, oh, I just heard that. And I start walking, beelining over to where I think it's at. Another 2.5 hours out there, nothing happens. And I go back to my car, set the auto recorder onto the car. I stay in the car the rest of the night there. 29 minutes after I set the auto recorder out, the first set of knocks happens, and then 36 knocks over that 2-hour period start happen. But with the first knock, it's 37 knocks that night.
Okay.
So been out there the following weekend after that with my buddy. He picked up some wood knocks. We didn't hear anything there, but the next day we were walking on this trail. Pretty much, it's like we're done. We turn around, we walk 5 steps. A tree starts crashing down, or something smashes against the tree. We're not sure. Go around. We didn't hear anything. Some other people and dogs came up to the situation and complicated it, but we were out there for another 3 hours. Didn't experience anything. It comes from an active area over the several years worth of activity, continued activity. So I've been out.
Do you think it's a form of? Go on. I'm sorry.
I've also recorded and was out and listened to hunters, gunshots, coon hunters, and stuff like that over the years. And wood knocks sound different wood on wood than a gunshot or anything else.
Mm-hmm. Blake, do you think it's a form of communication that they're using?
More spoke.
Yeah. Again, we don't know because we don't know anything about them really, but it's obviously something that they're doing, either for some type of communication, whether it's, some people think it's to alert other Sasquatches that people are coming into the woods, or in this instance, maybe Sasquatch was knocking because I went back to the car. It's hard to say because we don't have enough observation actual on any individuals or the species itself to know anything about them. So everything's speculation and theories and everyone's own experiences and their thoughts on that. So I wish I could tell you definitive answers, but most of it is I don't know, and no one else really knows.
No, that's a great. I'd rather you tell me I don't know, because that to me is more of an honest answer than saying, "Oh, I know definitively that's this." You know what I mean? And I appreciate that. Talking about the knocks, do you maybe go out there and play knocks out there and maybe try to see if you can get some?
Sometimes we do knocks.
Okay, all right.
We played on stereo systems, but the thing is, if you have a bad audio clip or whatever, you had feedback and stuff like that, it's not going to sound natural. We do a lot of our own calls and stuff that has had success. I do like low whoops, so you don't call blast the whole entire mountainside. You low whoop, so a football field radius around you will hear it, but nothing outside of that. That's actually done well. My buddy, he does the blast the mountain Bigfoot call, and he not only has got Bigfoot responses, but other animals, coyotes, everything just goes off. So
that's a mating call if you're high whoop.
Sometimes we just
it brings them
that's
all
the
in.
problem too, is we don't know what we're doing, what we're saying, and
it could be anything.
I've had one encounter where I shot a gun off at nighttime trying to hunt coyotes and shoot possums, and I heard the neighbor yelling at me, and I'm thinking, well, what the heck? My coyote hunt's over. I missed a possum. The neighbor's yelling at me, and then he yells at me again, and something don't sound right. He yells at me again, and I realize that it's not the neighbor, and he's not speaking English. It's a man. I feel like it's a man yelling at me. He's angry. I can feel it. Very human, but he's not speaking English. He's mumbling like a caveman or something. He's pissed off at me, and I hear him coming closer, and all of a sudden I'm standing there and I hear a man and I hear a woman fighting like a married couple. She's doing sing-song language, fluty bird tones and pitches. Is really weird. And they get to they're on this wood line, and they're about 100 yards out, paralleling me. And when they're right down the line to me, it's quiet. And about for 15 minutes, I hear snap here, a little something here, and I get wigged out. I go in, I grab more guns, and I was legit scared that time. And that was the most intense one besides the UP one. because of different things. But this one, I felt the aggression. He was a man. He was angry at me. And so when the female were fighting, bickering like a married couple, that's what it sounded like a beard. Like, no, Bob, don't go over there, Bob. He's just drunk. He shot a gun off, Bob. Don't teach him a lesson, Bob. Please, Bob, don't cause a rag. And it was like some scene at a bar when a lady is trying to hold her man back from trying to whoop my butt for something I didn't mean to do, bumping into him.
Bigfoot Bob. Stay away from Bigfoot Bob. Go ahead, Blake.
And so that really cemented that there are people that they're talking, because it was like people. It wasn't like an animal, yelling at me. And
it's funny how you can get that conjecture from, because it's funny because even in other languages we talk about it, like like when somebody's coming at you in a certain way, you know what I mean? You feel
100%.
the tone. So yeah, that's 100%. Funny that you grab that, in that whole conversation. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, well, real quick, I want to play some of this knocking noises and things, and then I want Will, if you don't mind, ask him a question. Then I'm going to ask the question I ask all Bigfooters that nobody's done, and we'll close out because the hour goes by so fast on this show. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. We love you all. If you have any last minute questions you want to ask our guests too, please put it in the comments right now. I'll log on to Rumble real quick, see if anybody's asked any questions there, but please go ahead and do so right now. I'm going to bring this video up off his YouTube page, and everybody please go over to his YouTube and subscribe to Lost Cryptid Conservatory. Here we go. We're going to listen to some knocks. Now, is that part of this?
This is the intro music.
Okay, intro music. Okay.
Yeah, original intro music that we came out with.
Nice.
Yeah, you can. Are you able to skip this a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, I explained what happened, and I do have.
Hold on here.
So you can skip it.
See, I heard it right there. Hold on.
That was the first one.
It sounds like something moaning. I don't hear a knock. I hear.
So that is the first one that I heard, and then I walked over there.
Was that a moan though? It wasn't a knock, right?
So there's a line right there. There's a knock.
I see the
line.
I see the line, and then the line underneath.
The line. So there was the vertical line is the knock. The horizontal line is the vocalization.
Like okay.
Yeah, and I had to super enhance that one to bring that out.
Well, my work is in EVPs, so I'm used to listening to audio. I heard the knock that time.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard a knock before that vertical line, even. That first vertical line here, I heard a knock right before that. Did you hear it?
Because it might be delayed a little bit, I think. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Listen.
Yeah. I hear it.
Hold on. Is this delayed? Why does it keep playing over and over?
I play it 4 times. Right there. And then I play the normal version and then the enhanced version.
Okay. So I don't have to keep going back and forth. That's nice.
No. So each vertical line you see will be the knock.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this will be a good one. I didn't hear that one. I heard that one.
Yeah, I heard that one.
You might have to go to the enhanced version, which is just all these amplified.
Okay. I heard that. I also heard a voice. Okay, here we go. I heard that big time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good
heard
one.
that one. Oh, that one went. Heard that one. I had a verb
Yeah.
on that one. By the way, I would poop myself if I was out there and I heard something go
Dude,
on the middle of the woods. I'm a pretty tough guy, I think. I'm not in the woods and not in the dark and not something that sounds like it could pick up a tree. No.
okay, that's a car going.
So I'm in the car. I have it on. I'm heating myself up and continue to get knocked. So I have no idea this is going on. I'm in the car. I don't hear any of it, obviously.
That's wild.
I was out there for 2.5 hours after the first one, and nothing happened. But I go back to the car.
I heard a knock there.
Yeah, it's easier to hear the enhanced version and stuff, but you got to always have the normal unenhanced version.
Yeah, obviously.
For some people, and
but you can see in the visualization of the clip itself, you see where it is. It's very apparent.
Yeah, these are and it's different sounds because there's different distances and stuff too, and different magnitudes.
It's not staying in one area. So are they communicating with each other? Is somebody closer and they're communicating with another Sasquatch far away?
I would assume. I'm not sure. I can't tell how many different individuals are knocking. It happened over a 2.5 hour period and are spaced out every couple minutes. And then the last section, there's like every 2 minutes, there's knocks, and there's 4 knocks, 3 knocks, 2 knocks.
Ooh,
there it is.
That's a good one.
So these are the enhanced versions where I amplified it.
That's the beginning. Okay.
Yeah.
I heard it
There
twice.
it is again.
That was a double.
Mm-hmm.
I almost thought I heard a growl in between them. I heard a growl there. Did you all hear that? Oh.
There might be trains, there's train horns and stuff going on in there too.
Okay.
It's the only crappy part.
I would have heard more
outside.
stuff. Trust me, I would put it out.
Listen,
Yeah.
you'll hear a growl in between this. Heard it?
That might be the highway. There's a highway miles and miles away that I'm picking up, and it's cars going over the rumble strips.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
I have hours of listening to the highway sounds.
See, it's so funny how you know that, because you've probably been out there so long, hearing all these fucking excuse my language, all these noises, right? You know what everything is. You're like, oh yeah, I know what that is. That's this. You're like, oh okay, yeah. And if you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like.
Oh, that was so good.
Man, I don't know about that, man. That's another.
Oh my goodness.
It's like some Blair Witch stuff out there.
I hear the train.
There's a train, yeah. Here's the again.
Wow. It's the same sound too, over and over. So it's hitting the same thing. It's hitting the same tree or
it changes and stuff. See, because it changes distances, and the magnitude is different too, and that's why it's not gunshots. It's not consistently the same exact signature.
It almost sounds like a whip. You know, like when somebody cracks a whip, because you can't crack it the same way over and over again. You know, it's always kind of different every time you crack a whip, you know, the sound.
Well, this is very interesting. Everybody, please go over to YouTube and follow the Lost Cryptids Conservatory. Blake, I'll have Will ask you a question. I'm going to ask the follow-up. We're going over tonight. I'm so sorry, everybody. But go ahead, Will. I'm going to remove this.
No. I mean, what's next for you on the horizon, Blake? I mean, is there a place that you haven't, wanted to go and maybe like investigate that you haven't gone to yet?
There's too many places. Too many places to do that.
All right, so at the top, let's just say, of the mountain, Rushmore of places?
I want to go back to the UP where we had the encounter up in Michigan. And then there's some places in New Mexico. There's places, of course, like Bluff Creek. I want to go to the Headless Valley territories, the Narhana Valley, I think it is, the Headless Valley, right? A lot of crazy stuff and stories up there. I think that's a wild, rugged that would be crazy to go. But I'm really focused on Michigan primarily, and there's so many different spots close to cities and civilization.
You're like right there.
You wouldn't expect that they're right there.
Come to Kentucky, Blake. You can stay at my house. I promise it'll be okay. We've had town hall meetings over Bigfoot. Come to Kentucky.
Oh.
It's Carter County, Olive Hill. You'll have a free place. You can bring a friend or whatever. I'll get my blow up mattresses and we can go. I'm scared of the woods, but I will. I've never researched Bigfoot. I'll do it though. I will do it.
I'm gonna hold you up to that.
Okay, we'll do it this summer. I'll get in the bush.
We'll make it happen. Yeah.
Investigate in the bush.
We're looking at places in Kentucky, in Ohio, and
well, I live right
so
here
much.
in Ohio,
We're also
West Virginia, Kentucky, tri-state area. I'm right here.
All right. We're also doing the Bugman Conference, the second annual one.
Oh yeah.
October, but we're gonna have it here in Michigan and have another fun one.
Just FYI, Mothman is just 35 to 40 minutes up the road for me too. So,
Silver Springs, right?
No, Pleasantville or
Pleasantville.
Yeah, I think Point Pleasant. I'm sorry, not Pleasantville. Point Pleasant.
Point Pleasant. That's what it is. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
You're right. So my question.
Here we go.
Is no Bigfooter has ever done this. We've interviewed probably about 5 or 6 of them over the years. And Blake, we would love to have you come back on too. This has been a great show. We appreciate you very much.
I think we only scratched the surface with Blake.
I know. Really, I do. And I feel that way with a lot of people, but you have a lot of research and backup. But so Blake, can you give us your Sasquatch call? Like you're a
I'll
low
give you
caller.
the low whoop one, because if I do the call blast
whoop?
one,
he's gonna have somebody coming out of his window.
Too loud. It won't. Yeah.
You need it. Oh my gosh! Nobody's ever done this
too. So you gotta warm up and stuff too, because sometimes you go out there trying to do an epic call and you croak it, and then you're like, that bit us.
Yeah.
If you
drink some water before you do it.
If you need to mute yourself,
I will try
and practice for a minute and drink a glass of water or take a sip and then try. Give us your best low whoop.
No, I mean that's what I would tell everyone else before they do it. But
okay.
So I do this low whoop call to announce myself and to acknowledge that there might be Sasquatches there within this vicinity of me, a football field around. You're not call blasting. This is like the opposite. And it's really, I think, helped because it acknowledges like their presence and you're using a form of their communication, but you're not blasting it out to like every other person in this vicinity knows about it. And I think they kind of receive that differently. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty simple. You just,
it's louder than that though, right?
I mean, you can pop it off and,
I want to pop off. Can we have a pop off?
You don't want to pop that off, Emily, because then you're going to have
what if you're
big feet at your door.
I want an example.
If you want to,
if you're outside, give us your low whoop.
There it is.
And, you could throw it and stuff too. So sometimes, if you throw it up and you aim up, it's going to get louder and stuff. But if you cup it and you kind of bounce it off your chest and stuff, the sound waves are going to bounce off harder surfaces. And so it dampens it. And so, especially if you really don't want other people to know you're doing the stuff, that low whoop call is something that if there's something around you, they'll hear it. And it doesn't take much to call blast. Like sound travels at nighttime very effectively.
Oh,
So
it
everyone
does. It
screams out
does.
there when all you
You're
need
right
to
about
do
that.
is a very small abrupt thing, and it will carry on more than what you would
Has
expect.
has anybody ever made a Sasquatch call, like a duck call?
Well, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, there's like gimmicks and stuff. There's like
Uh,
little toys for kids gimmicks, but
oh. Well,
professionally, no.
Blake, we need a professional Squatch call. We do.
That'd be
I will use
something.
it. I would use it in my
Squatch
backyard.
Commander.
Yeah.
I will use Squatch in my backyard to see what happens, and I live in the
That's
city,
right.
so
Yeah.
but, Blake, we appreciate so much. For people listening on, podcast and everything, can you tell everybody where they can find you and follow you?
Yeah, YouTube right now is the main platform that we showcase all the evidence, obviously. But we have a Facebook page, a Facebook group by the same name. We're on Rumble. We're trying to build that up. We just started the first live stream, but gonna be pumping out more stuff on there. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for the social media stuff. But we're just getting more equipment, doing more big audio projects. We're about full-time audio for 2 weeks audio that will run for 2 weeks at a time, and hopefully get a lot more good audio, save up for thermals, and have some expeditions throughout the year and after the conference to get other researchers here to experience the stuff that we're claiming is happening to us. So we want other people here to experience it with us, because we want them to share the stories, and it helps cement the truth that there are things out there in the woods, and all you really need to do is grab a camera or just go out there and experience it.
Well, we appreciate you, Blake, and
We do.
always
We do.
message me when you have. I do subscribe and follow your page, and I ring the bell, I get the alerts. But if anything happens, message me, let me know, and we'd love to have you back on the show. But we'll let you go for now. We'll close out, and thank you so much. We'll schedule you in the future to come back on during Squatch season, probably. In when was that? In July, maybe.
July.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all them vacations. It's all those family vacations.
It's
July
all them
4th.
vacations.
Yeah,
That too.
it's them fireworks. So thank you, Blake. We appreciate you, and
Thank you,
you have a
Blake.
good night.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much.
Well, there we go.
There we
The
go.
Lost Cryptid Conservatory.
Yes.
Do you believe in Bigfoot, Will?
You know what? I still believe in him. You know, I just did an episode like 3 weeks ago. Me and my co-host, we actually tackled this topic, and you know, he's a non-believer, and I'm a believer. And yeah, I think Bigfoot does exist. I just don't think we understand exactly what it is. So I think that's the whole thing.
I think it exists at some time. I don't think it exists anymore, and I think it's the government
Mm,
playing tricks with us, with mind
interesting.
control and frequencies and all that kind of stuff. So,
Could be.
but who knows? I might come face to face with Bigfoot. I mean, you probably dated somebody.
I did. I've dated some Bigfoot women. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So next
How to
week,
get them off
everybody.
of me.
What do they smell like? Do they have a
Oh,
smell?
not good. Not good.
I need to know what your Squatch was, Commander.
Oh.
Hold on real fast, too, when he was talking about I started dying laughing at me myself. He said crackhead skinny.
Oh, yeah.
When he
That's
was
exactly what said that. Yeah, the
crackhead
stick
skinny.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that's
stick man.
exactly what I would have thought too. It's crackhead. There's some crackhead in the woods. You know, probably trying to steal a catalytic converter out of something. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So no,
it's Slender Man. It's Slender Man.
Yeah, it's Cracker Man. Yeah, it's great. Cracked out. Yeah.
So next week we have Jonathan Jacob from Cult of Conspiracy. I don't know if you know who they are. I listen to a lot of their shows, but we're going to be beyond the scales of secrecy. Do you know what we're going to be talking about?
Oh, what secret societies? Maybe.
Reptilians.
Oh, the reptilians.
All about reptilians next week with Jonathan and Jacob, Cult of Conspiracy. So thank you everybody for tuning in to What the Frick Live tonight. We appreciate you. We're going to be live every Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know it's going to take a while to get some of our viewers back in the rhythm because we've been out for a while, especially on Facebook. But we appreciate everybody. Please share this out. Please subscribe to all of our channels, Rumble, Facebook, YouTube, mostly. And then we're available on all podcast platforms. So thank you so much and have a great great week. By the way, it was my birthday week, so
Happy birthday,
work
by the way, belated. I tried to call you and tell you happy
I
birthday.
know, I was so busy, I worked. It's just not exciting anymore, but thank you, everybody,
No,
we
it's
love you,
okay.
we appreciate you, we'll see you next time, next Friday, 7 PM Eastern Standard Time with Cult of Conspiracy Reptilians.